Hi everybody, I'm Sue Allen Clayton. Welcome to my channel where we'll be learning the tarot cards one card at a time. Today's card is number 11 in the Major Arcana, Justice. I am using the Rider-Waite Tarot deck and you'll find the link below the video. I've also linked to the many books I've used for my research. In this video we'll discuss what this card means when it appears in a reading, the symbolism of the card, the meaning of justice when it is upright and reversed, including some examples from my life, and at the end I'll provide you with some questions to help you better connect with justice. So let's get started. In this card we see a serious blonde-haired woman sitting on a gray throne between two gray pillars. Behind her is a purple curtain. The sun shines around her. She is wearing a yellow crown and a red robe with a yellow and green mantle. A white shoe peeks out beneath her robe. In her right hand is a sword that is pointing upward. In her left hand are gold scales. This card is about balance, truth, and fairness. It invites us to look inside ourselves and accept the truth of what we have done. The meaning of this card is that the universe is fair and you will be judged fairly. You may get relief if you have been wronged. However, you will also get punished if you have wronged someone. The Justice card is kind of like Santa's naughty list. If you are good, you will be rewarded with gifts. If you are bad, you'll get coal in your stocking. Justice also has a literal interpretation and represents legal issues. So let's talk about the symbols in Justice. This card shows a woman sitting on a gray throne between two pillars. Gray represents neutrality, tolerance, safety, wisdom, and duality, as well as indifference and lack of awareness. The pillars symbolize truth and law, both things that are important for a judge, and it means that you will get a fair result. She is looking directly at us. This shows that we cannot hide from justice. In some decks, although not the Rider-Waite-Smith decks, justice is blindfolded, as in the saying that justice is blind. This reinforces that justice is unbiased and doesn't make her decisions based on what is happening around her. Behind her is a purple curtain. Purple is a mixture of blue, which represents calmness and stability, and red, which represents power and commitment. Unlike the High Priestess in card number 2, where we see color peeking out behind the veil, this veil completely covers the space behind her. This shows us that nothing is hidden. There are no secrets from justice. The yellow background represents consciousness and the ability to see clearly. This is what happens when the sun is shining, as opposed to moonlight or darkness where it is difficult to discern what is going on around you. The sun shines above the top of the curtain and around the sides of the pillars. While the sun represents clear consciousness, it is obscured by the rules and regulations that are represented by the curtain. Justice has golden yellow hair. This represents a connection to the divine through her crown chakra. She is wearing a yellow crown. Crowns are symbols of authority. The yellow color shows that justice also provides illumination to others. The fact that it is open on the top means that she is connected to spirit. The crown has 3 squares that look like the top of a castle wall. This is known as a mural crown that shows that justice is part of a civilized society. Below the top of her crown is a blue jewel that is located over her third eye. This represents that she has the mental clarity needed to make fair decisions. Together, the 4 squares on her crown represent the feminine, masculine, material, and spiritual worlds. The red robes represent passion and control. A mantle is a type of shawl. Her yellow and green mantle represents the natural world over which justice presides. At the center of the mantle is a white brooch with a red circle inside it. The red stone represents her passion for truth. The square white box represents openness and the 4 corners of the earth. Together, the circle and square represent opposites that can be brought together to create harmony. The white tip of her shoe shows pure emotion despite her logical mind. Her legs are crossed at the ankles, which show that she is relaxed despite her responsibilities. In her right hand is a sword that is pointing upward. The sword represents cutting through the issues to find the truth. It is a double-edged sword, which shows that our actions always have consequences. The sword is all about taking action to make sure that justice is realized. In her left hand are gold scales. Her left hand represents her emotional side, which shows that logic must be balanced with intuition and emotion. Justice is logical and impartial and weighs both sides of an issue before she makes a decision. Note that she is barely holding the scales, which shows she trusts the result. It is interesting that our courthouses often show scales that are not balanced. In the case of justice, the scales are perfectly balanced, showing that she considers both sides of an issue. When the Justice card appears upright in a reading, it might indicate that you are living a balanced life. This involves taking care of your body, mind, and spirit, as well as your relationships with other people. The Justice card also means that you are taking responsibility for your actions. This card is about karma, which means that eventually people will face the consequences of their actions. If you're loving and kind to others, you will reap that in return. This card is a reminder that if you need to make a decision, you should weigh the pros and cons carefully. It might be time to consult a lawyer to help with disputes that need to be resolved. If you are involved in legal matters, you will have a just result. This does not mean that you will win unless you deserve to. So here's an example from my own life. I think that we all recall George Floyd's murder in May 2020, when Derek Chauvin kneeled on Mr. Floyd's neck for 9 minutes after Mr. Floyd had allegedly passed a counterfeit $20 bill in a store. Just a week ago, on December 1st, 2023, Mr. Chauvin was stabbed 22 times in a federal prison. I am not saying that this was right or that prisoners don't have the right to be safe when they are incarcerated. I completely believe the opposite. I think all prisoners deserve to be safe regardless of their crimes. However, it does make you wonder if karma was at play and if he is reaping what he sowed. If justice appears in a reading in a reversed position, it can mean that you have unrealistic expectations of yourself, others, or situations. For instance, you think that you can learn tarot in 12 hours, despite the fact that masters study it for a lifetime and still don't know it all. The justice reversed can indicate that you are treating people unfairly. It can also indicate dishonesty or corruption. Either you are being dishonest or someone is deceiving you. It might mean that you are living in denial and not accepting the truth or consequences of your actions. You might need to apologize to someone, or you are owed an apology. You are going through a divorce, custody battle, landlord dispute, or some other kind of legal situation. Or you are not taking responsibility for your actions. So here's just one example of unfairness in my world, but there are many. According to an article by Reuters on October 23rd, 2023, billionaires in the United States have an estimated personal tax rate of 0.5%. That is just not fair. I am not close to a billionaire or a millionaire, and I pay a lot more than that. So here are some questions you can answer so that you can connect with the Justice card. Number 1, do you have any decisions that need to be made? Can you approach them with logic? What is the truth of the situation? Number 2, what is throwing you off balance? Is there a way to regain balance in your life? Number 3, are you being treated unfairly? What can you do about it? Perhaps you owe someone an apology. Number 4, do you need to speak up about an injustice? I spoke about the George Floyd situation a moment ago. According to Wikipedia, during the summer of 2020, somewhere between 15 and 26 million people participated in protests. It was the largest series of protests in American history. People spoke up for injustice. Number 5, is there anything in your life that you're not being honest about, either to yourself or others? Number 6, are you judging yourself or others fairly or too harshly? And number 7, is it time for you to take legal action? So I'd love for you to answer these questions and leave your answers in the comments below. And please join me for the next video, which is about card number 12, the Hanged Man.